Guillaume is a sustainable entrepreneur with a passion for wood and nature conservation. In 2016, he acquired Kaltimber, which is a sustainable wood company based in Bali. His products are absolutely beautiful, and you're going to see them up on screen while he's talking. He's very kindly shared a number of beautiful images, and he's going to talk about the story of Kaltimber and what he's been able to do with this business, and a very, very different material than plastic Lego blocks, something that we're probably all a little bit more familiar with. But I'm really excited to see his take and the care and work that his team does every day to bring this beautiful product to homes around the world. So thank you, Guillaume.
Thank you. Okay. No worry. All good?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. We're just like stuck?
Otherwise, I'll click it.
It's okay. No worry.
Is it working?
I have no idea. Well, I don't need the pick to get started anyway, so thank you for being here today, and thank you for Scale Climate Action to have us here today. So I was asked to join the event to introduce who is Kaltimber, what do we do, why do we do it, and the kind of challenges a company like ours are facing to be able to scale up, and what kind of solution we try to bring to face those challenges. So if you are in business, that might also ring a bell for you guys. So Kaltimber is a company that was created back in 2009 to answer the genuine need for reclaimed material in the Bali market, specifically for the Bali market. And in 2016, that's when I came in the picture. That's when I purchased the company. They were shutting down. So I thought it's a shame such a company to shut down. So that's when I bought the company. The specialty of the company is to work with one type of wood only, which is ulin. Maybe you've heard of it, ironwood. And we do only reclaim. We don't touch new wood whatsoever. So only reclaiming and then recycling that ulin ironwood. So that's what we are doing. And we try to bring that to, first of all, Bali, then Indonesia, and then the whole world through a different distributor and different market. So I want to see like different types of challenge that we have been facing. Some of them are really specific. Some of them are much more broad market challenge. So for the very specific, yeah, we're going to be without photo, it's okay. For the very specific challenge that we are facing, and I guess that's not specific to the woodworking industry, is a lack of skilled labor. So it's really complicated, especially in the carpentry world, to find people with a lot of skill, especially when you go niche, like we do with the ironwood itself. Many people don't want to work it for many reasons, heavy, complicated. So how do you address this kind of issue? How do you address the upfront cost that can be very high? How do you address the long lead time that you can face? So that's the kind of things that I want to brush today. So short time to make an introduction of myself, the company, the challenge. I'm going to make it brief, hopefully clear enough. So for the skilled labor, what we came up with is a very simple solution. It's simply training. So at a village level, we offer free training for everybody who wants to learn how to do carpentry, how to become a carpenter. Once you know how to work ulin, you know how to work anything. So we offer free training for outside people, and we have a constant training approach with our own team. So once a week we have dedicated. So that's all photo from the factory, which is based in Batuan, not so far from Ubud. And everything you see here, everything is a recycled ironwood only. So we produce everything in-house. We do not externalize. We do not have a third party doing anything. We do everything by ourselves. So all those people that you see here, let's say 90% of them, they knew nothing about ironwood. They were like carver or sometimes absolutely non-related job that we took to to a level of being able to do amazing things, really, and even like all the way to carving. Even though we don't do carving, they can carve like anything you want with that wood, which is really unforgiving for the tool, especially if you know the wood. So to get back to the challenge and the solution that we brought, so the team training is a very important part. Now for industry like ours, and maybe the people of Block Solution before, you have very high upfront cost if you want to set up something. In between renting a land, you need to have a big space to be able to put all your machine. You need to have the money for those machine. You need to have the money for the raw material that you're going to bring. And it's not like, oh, I'm going to bring like 2 planks. And no, you need to bring like a whole 20 cubic at once. And so the high upfront cost to be able to set something like that is really a break into developing new companies similar to what Kaltimber is doing. And even at our level, it took us, from the time I purchased all the way until now, it took us 6 years to be able to get ready to build another factory, which is going to do something else still within that industry. So there is, even in our own industry, even though we are pretty big in that industry, there are still a lot of available space. But those high-end costs, they are very like killing the opportunities. You don't have many solutions except like buying second-hand machinery. But then you're going to have the same problem that you have with second-hand stuff. You don't know how it was cared for before. Can be a lot of maintenance after that. But at least you can start with much lower cost, significant lower cost. For the raw material, you're going to buy bulk, not like one. You're going to buy big volume to get a better per unit price. But doesn't really bring a solution to that financial initial challenge. And then wider to the wood industry itself, not the reclaimed wood industry, because we are purely reclaimed wood, but the wood industry itself is really a cyclical environment where, especially when you work with even well-managed forest, it takes time from the time when you get the wood available. So you have time when the prices are very high, the time where the prices are very low. So it's hard also to be able to anticipate your cost and see how the markets also evolve, like the huge need that there has been in the US and so on for the wood, and the wood price skyrocketed. We see in France also that the price of the wood also skyrocketed because the cost of heating houses went really high. So people go back to the wood. So then the wood also. So it's really complicated to be able to set a plan and keep that plan on the long run. So what can you do for that? Well, you do what we do, is that you go reclaim because, well, the demand is always here. The price are plus minus always the same. So being in that niche is really like a convenient way for us to guarantee a consistent pricing and be able to keep the company running on the long term. And as well, you have to keep investing on new machinery to optimize your production, to be able to make more volume, keep your cost under control. For example, in Kaltimber, some product, I'm not here for promotion, but for the past 4 years didn't change the price. We're still at the same level, even though everything went up with all the investment that we made. We aim to keep that fair and accessible to everybody. So sometimes complicated to find that balance. And then for a broader approach on the market itself, you have 2 main topics. You have the consumer awareness, and you have, and that's really complicated at our level, is the government regulations. So the consumer awareness is pretty simple, is that many people, they are absolutely not aware of the benefits that there are to use reclaimed wood. If it's properly made, and that's also very important to say, if it's properly made, if it's made purely as a business, it's terrible. It's even worse than using genuine reclaim. So genuine reclaim is a thing that so many people don't understand. They think like reclaim is going to be lower quality, reclaim is going to be broken. It's absolutely not that. You can have pristine, great looking, yet with a very meaningful impact. Some of the planks that you are going to use, they are like 50, 70, 100 years old. So you really carry a history. And many people, unfortunately, In Bali, many people are aware of that, but sometimes you talk about reclaim and like just buy new wood. It's cheaper, it's better, and it's so wrong. So a lot of challenge on that part, and solution here for us is trying to explain through social media what do we do, how we do, and what's the benefits of that on our website. What's the benefit of that? What is the company policy? So for us, it's really on a marketing base and on a one-on-one base when we meet with the people that we get to explain to them what's the benefit of using reclaimed wood. And the government regulation on the timber, it's always changing. It's specific to all different types of wood. When you go new wood, you have a regulation. You go reclaim, you have other regulation. And someone was laughing about something I said, which is reclaim versus new stupidity. And when I say new stupidity is the rule around it, specifically apply to the iron wood. We can, maybe during the question session, I can talk a little bit more about that so I don't burn all the time here. But there is really some crazy things about what is categorized as reclaim and what is categorized as new. And just some tiny change could have a massive impact in Indonesia only and in the forest conservation and all this kind of action. So far, the challenge that we face, which are pretty much, I guess, every kind of reclaim business and sustainable business, pretty similar challenge. That's the solution that we brought after much struggle and that we aim to keep, and we aim to also... Kaltimber really aims to conserve what's left of the forest and keep that species of tree alive by actively reclaiming only and replanting a lot, because that's not a tree that you can sustainably grow. Once it's cut down, like, oh, look, my beautiful Ulin syrup on my roof, oh, that's going to last forever. Yeah, but the tree is finished, and that's 100% new wood, and that's never going to grow again. So yes, it's good, yes, it's long-lasting, but there are similar reclaim solutions that can achieve exactly the same performance without damaging anything. Plus, we are talking about carbon. Well, you have a lot of processing, less than using reclaim, which is already a plank, which already had a life, which is probably already zero on a carbon part. So there is a long way to go, especially and still in Indonesia. So I'm just going to make a conclusion, so I keep some time if people have questions. Also keep some time for the workshop. I guess we talk about climate change. It's a problem that requires global solution with different types of actors working together to reach that goal. Like I work a lot, and unfortunately he's gone, but I work a lot with my tree, because he was talking about Kaltimber before. So Eco Mantra, we work a lot with people like that, deeply implicated in bringing really the reclaim material out. We need to try and protect really, and I insist on that, all the forest, but also all the other natural resources that we have around. So that's why it was really interesting also to have block solution before, to address that like plastic pollution issue into something usable, to get that reclaim that so many people consider waste back into circulation, give it more value to the homeowner, to the people, give more value to the raw material itself. And that's going to be my short promotion, is that we are working with FNPF, which is a friend of the National Forest in Indonesia, in Kalimantan, and we work with those people to replant trees. So they plant every type of trees. We specifically focus on the ironwood. Now, if you guys want to make a little something, they are really serious. They are doing their job really well. So if you want to go on their website and give something for that organization, we are not affiliate whatsoever. So, okay, it's like pure their promotion, not my promotion. I think that's going to be it for me. I can go on a long time, but we don't have the time for that. Thank you so much. And any question or advisor first, right? I'm here.
Thanks, Guillaume. Guillaume, stay there and maybe answer Rob's question while we get Adrian and Jonathan back up here. If you guys want to come back up.
Yeah. I'm curious, in your production process, you obviously produce quite a lot of resource or waste. What do you actually do with the waste that comes from the factory? I'm assuming a lot of sawdust.
Okay, so we have two types. We have, let's say, three types of waste. We have the offcuts that we can reuse as a product to make like fans, to make small items. We have, and for that purpose, developed a new brand, which is specifically doing home decor, customizable, full customizable. So with the biggest, but not necessarily in good, proper, usable shape, we are creating things. Doesn't matter, from a bracelet to a toque to whatever you want to do, we can make it happen. And that's a specific brand. And
Yes.
and the last part is the sawdust. So you have two types of sawdust, the biggest sawdust
Yes.
and the smallest. So the smallest we reuse for all our gluing,
Got it?
to
Yep,
mix
and-
with material, so it
Understood.
matches the color of the wood.
Understood.
And the second, we are trying to develop something right now. We are trying to transform the sawdust into essential oil for the perfume industry. Yet, when all the sawdust are cleared of tannin,
Yes.
we can give it to farmers to cover the land and the crops instead
Right.
of using plastic.
Right,
So this
okay.
is not quite there yet because we don't have like the funds to make it happen quickly. So we work with like friends around us.
Right.
But that's the aim for those big sawdust. As of now, those big sawdust, they are sold for people cooking, sometimes tahu or bricks or stuff like that.
Right, okay. All right. Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. Extracting the value out of what is, in the old days was called waste. Now it's called resource, right?
Everything.
And I love that. I've got a friend who works in the regenerative space and with balsa wood, and he gives the shavings from the balsa wood to the farmers, who he gives the plants to because it has a 4-year life cycle, and then he buys the plants and then harvests them and does it the way.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Guillaume, stay there. You can stand or sit, whatever you'd like. We're going to have Adrian and Jonathan kind of just give some initial thoughts or advice from their little pre-meetings and anything that you might have been inspired by from the presentation. And again, we're going to open it up to the audience again in case you guys have got questions or comments. But let's start with these guys because they've prepped a bunch of advice for the folks at Kaltimber. So thank you.
So I'll start with questions so that you get some clarification before we offer some advice. Is there an independent industry body that certifies? Where you mentioned there's different. It sounds like. You mentioned the new stupidity. I think we can unpack that. How you label something reclaimed when it's not really reclaimed. Is there an independent certification process?
So that's pure Indonesian regulation. So in the regulation, the wood is qualified reclaim when it has been, reclaimed from something. Doesn't matter how old is the structure from which you reclaim it to. So for many villages in Kalimantan, it's really a way of living. They basically dismantle huge roads, then they chop new tree, they make planks, they install those planks, and 3 months later, they sell them again. And that's what many people are selling in Bali. Many of the Ulin sellers are selling that because they are really quickly coming in the market. They are really quickly available, so that's an easy way to get it. They are often cheaper, but the downside, and it's a downside for the genuine reclaim, is that since the wood is still green, it's going to move. It's going to shrink, it's going to cup, shit's going to happen. And people are going to blame the wood itself, while it's actually the process that it has been through and the qualification as reclaimed, which is false. Now, you take a plank from a tree processed, you get a plank, you put that somewhere, and in 50 years from now, you reuse that plank. That's still new wood. So for us, we are legally allowed to call reclaim a plank that is 3 months old and not one that we take from somewhere that was never used, but that is 50, 60, 70 years. We had that with beams, and we have planks not so often, but with beams very often. They are like, how long this has been here? Like 50 years. Can I consider that reclaim? No, that's new wood because it was never used. So that's where it's really complicated, and that's one of our challenge also, is to get our hands on genuinely old reclaimed wood. And that's really complicated. So that's the problem. Now, for the certification body, we used to be FSC certified, 100% recycle. I dropped them because they are a massive administrative headache, never doing any visit on site, and only like wasting time, purely wasting time. Now we are applying for the SVLK, but well, long story short, welcome here. You can do whatever you want and put it the way you want. You know, it's the stages that you put and the reputation of the company is really what holds the value. We work with the Forest Ministry. Every single one of our shipment is individually checked by an agent of the Forest Ministry that certifies, yes, it's reclaimed. And sometimes, no, this one is not reclaimed. So we stop the truck, then the truck goes back, they unload the wood, and they load genuinely only reclaimed, because it happened, even to us, that supplier, because they want to go quick, they want a quick payout, they put new wood on the truck and then here you go. They hide it and then no. So we have everything checked. But a certifying body that could keep their hand on the reclaim, nearly impossible, unfortunately.
One more thing. I think you didn't mention it in your presentation. The company name is Kaltimber.
Kaltimber.
And Kel is for Kalimantan.
Actually, right? It's Kaltim, which is East Kalimantan Timor.
Yep.
Because we source from Kaltim. And timber, well, because of timber, so Kaltimber.
Right. So the Kel does represent Kalimantan.
Kel is Kalimantan.
Yep.
Tim is Timor. The East Kaltim. Kaltim is Kalimantan Timor. That's how they call it Kaltim over there.
Okay, good.
And so it's a mix of Kaltim and timber, Kaltimber.
Okay, good. Yeah, I wanted to clarify that because I have some advice about Kalimantan. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah. So Kalimantan at the moment is attracting a lot of attention and funding for nature-based solutions, nature conservation. There's a lot of attention around carbon credits, not just carbon credits actually. I think recently, within the last 12 months, the East Kalimantan Regency received some funding purely for protecting the forests. So I wonder if, given your ties with Kalimantan, if you can forge some alliance or relationship there to show them what you're doing and have access to some funding or maybe not funding but support in terms of what you're doing, and have a platform to highlight what you're doing is true conservation versus those stories you said, which is it looks like reclaim but actually it's false. So that those stories of false reclamation would be negative for them in terms of being perceived as a eco-regency. So I think going back to the source of your timber and see what relationships you can forge there, I think that would be useful for your business.
Yeah, definitely. To check later when I'm back in the office. We'll look into that, yeah, definitely, because we try to approach as many conservation or funding or people trying to have a positive impact, no matter who they are and no matter what they do. We really try to be involved with those people. So if I can somehow help to draw even just new regulation lines to help the reclaimed wood industry, specifically the wood that we do, the Ulin only, that would be amazing already.
Yeah, I've got some connections there, so we can talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
So just for some clarification, who is the actual customer you're selling to most often? Is it a builder? Is it an individual? Who's making the decision around what to use?
It's a good question, and it's pretty much a broad answer because we have professionals that come to us and that spec us in the project. So we have a big part of B2B. We work a lot with architect, contractor, designers, or people like Maitri from Eco Mantra. We work a lot with those people. But we also have a huge part of B2C where people just like see us on social media, and then they come and they either build by themselves, so they buy, or they want to use specifically Kaltimber. Some of them don't even really know what we do. They just want to use Kaltimber because of the name of the brand. And so they spec that to the people like architect, contractor, and so on. So it's really the whole market that we reach.
Got it. And is one approach more profitable than another?
I guess for us and the setting that we have, bigger volume is better because the setting of the machine is really time consuming. So many tiny projects can be less profitable. But for that purpose, we invested in new machinery to be able to address that issue. When I took over, Kaltimber was not doing much, and then we focused specifically on the professional. Then COVID came, so all the professionals basically shut down their big project, and we had the massive increase in small project like 100 square meter, 200 square meter project like that, but a lot of them, a big volume of them. And then COVID stopped, and all those professionals came back, and the private people stayed also. So that's why we had to adapt our production line. We build new building, brought in new machine. We bring more people in the team. We were like, I had like 15 carpenter. We have 25 carpenter full time over there. So we really had to make a switch to adapt to the market.
Got it. Yeah, I'm gonna backtrack on that. Do your customers see you as like a luxury product, and is that kind of where you think you ought to be positioned, or do they see? Because I mean, I'll say that like living in Bali, that's I think how we see it in general, but it may not be like reflective of the market. But like reclaimed wood is a benefit. Oftentimes, is very cool feel, like really like a lot of character. Is that generally what you're going after, and is that how you're seen today? And your social media has like beautiful photography, other things like that. Is that what you're trying to convey to the market, or do you want to be more like widely available mass market?
That's really interesting. The pillar of the company, they are sustainable, competent, and fair. And the fair part stands for the price tag that we put on our product. We want the product to be accessible to as many people as possible. So the idea is that we can be with some of our product significantly cheaper than some new wood option with performance that are much higher than any of those products. So we used to be assimilated to a luxury expensive brand, and I don't like that tag at all. We have some products that are expensive, yes, but we have some products that are super cheap, super cheap. We talk about like 300,000 a square meter, which is like the price of a cheap vinyl in Depot Bangunan or something like that. So we try to bring that to as many as possible, which is our pillar, fair. That's one of the pillar of the company.
It's interesting because I think it's actually easy to go that way because you have this like kind of luxury reputation and you have some less expensive products that are still profitable for you. But the one thing I would say about that is to get really clear on like kind of like, because I think how you reach out on social media and other places for those two segments is like a little bit different. Maybe it's not even social media. Maybe Instagram's really great for building the brand. Or maybe there's a message around. One of the things that I mentioned to you before that we built a house and we have some like amazing like old beams from piers and they have the pock marks, and like what we love about it is like every piece of wood in the house has like character to it, and it feels like, and so that feels like a bit of the kind of luxury segment, not because it's expensive but because it's like unique. Yeah, it's the look and feel. But like I think that's really great for appealing to that particular market that's in the mood for that. But I think that you have this other, if what you want to do is go a little broader, I wonder whether that imagery and message is necessarily the right one, and it might be useful to spend some time with the people you're selling the like less expensive things to in the broader sense, and just really understand like where do they find out about things, how do you reach them, what kind of messages at a consumer level too, so that you kind of create the push. Because I heard from your business or selling to businesses, but also sometimes those people are getting pushes to come to us because of their individuals. So I think there's two segments there, right? They're very different, and like you may reach them through different channels or different Instagram accounts or different things like that, and what you say to them each might be quite different.
Thank you.
Question in the audience?
Yeah.
Hi,
Hey.
I have a question. As Metri highlights, 80% of the carbon emissions come from the structural elements in construction. And I know you are doing decking, but I want to know if you're doing structural elements, beams, column, or roof frame.
So Kaltimber focus on the plank production, so decking, flooring, cladding, ceiling, everything with the ink, basically we are doing it. And now we are opening a new factory that's going to focus on the structural elements, so door frames, rafters, beams, I mean like truss, all that kind of stuff. We're gonna start producing more volume pretty soon. We are doing it in Kaltimber, but let's be clear, that's basically annoying the production because we are not set for that. So we are going to develop something, yes, for purely for more like structural material, yes. Coming soon.
How many months?
Good question. I guess sometime early next year. Let's say a few, maybe 3-4 months is the time to set up everything. It does take some time, and then yeah, we're gonna start.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
In the supply-demand equation for your business, where is the growth challenge? Is it on the demand side or the supply side?
It's definitely on the supply side, 100%. Our growth is stuck to the supply capacity. We can always rent bigger land, we can always buy a new machine, we can always train new people, we did it. But the raw material coming in, if I wanted to grow the business, I would have to jump into those 1-2-3 months old reclaim, and I could grow my business another maybe 50-75%. But we fight against that every single day, so I don't want to go down that path. We opened a new supply route also from other part of Kalimantan to get access to more raw materials, still keeping it genuine, but the limitation will always be the raw material.
Normally, when there's more demand than supply, then the price goes up. So does that affect your product pricing?
So the supply part in Kalimantan, the price keep on increasing. Sometimes 2-3 times a year, the price is changing. On our end, we try to get as efficient as possible in the machinery and the use of the material and what kind of plank we're going to use for what kind of product to have as little waste as possible to be able to keep the price under control. If we were to sell following the increase of price, we would be, I guess, around 25% more expensive than what we really are right now. So yeah, it does affect. And the demand is really high everywhere. Like we have a 6 months waiting list in production before we can start anything new. So and we have a huge supply behind us. Yet still the demand is, and I'm talking only about like Bali and let's say Jakarta. I refuse containers load to New Zealand, France, Italy, America. It's just the demand is too high compared to the supply, unfortunately.
Are you operating your current factory at or near capacity? So the supply of raw materials is limited, but is your sort of throughput fairly high at the factory? So it's like, or could you benefit from more people or like another factory?
No, the benefit that we're going to have from the other factory that we want to set for structural material and is that the raw material is not the same as Kaltimber. Kaltimber is a plank eater. Now we're going to use like other part of the structure, like the beams over there, or the structure of the boats. We dismantle a lot of boats, a lot of barge, so they have a lot of straight beams. That's what we're going to use. So that's how we're going to increase basically. But that's going to be a new company. It's not going to be Kaltimber anyway. But that's the only way for us to be able to increase the cash flow and the income. But within Kaltimber itself, increasing the people would change nothing. Bringing in new machine would not change much. Buying bigger land would not change much. It's really supply, but it's a good problem.
Yeah, well, the other thing you might think about, and this could just be a bad idea, so toss it out if it is, but sounds like there's a few different brands that could be there too, right? They're all under one brand umbrella right now, and so but you have a lower, like I wouldn't say I'd call it a lower end product, but you have a more mass market product, and you have a higher end product, and you built that brand, and you could easily look at your Instagram account and be like, this is for luxury villas and like super awesome things like this, and that's. I almost feel like if you segment those and have like multiple different brands, you actually could increase the the profitability of the company as well, because you can sell those others at a premium, and you can actually raise the price because they're price insensitive. They're relatively price insensitive, and you can achieve your goal of like driving mass market appeal by having a brand that is associated with that high-end brand because people know the quality is there, and yet you can tell them why you're able to do this at a lower cost that would appeal to them as well. So I think there's something to explore there about as you do this, is there multiple different brands under the same brand umbrella that can can benefit there, and that would actually allow you to grow profitability as well.
Okay, let's when you are in Ubud, let's have a coffee.
I think there's a question from Toby at Alterize, another super cool, innovative building material supplier.
Hello, my name is Toby. I'm just wondering, you mentioned a lot about the supply being somewhat a limiting factor. What is your projection, like how long can this whole business model sustain itself? I mean, how much more reclaimed wood is out there, and is that not like something that has a end of life?
That's a question I've been asked a lot, and that was a question I was asking myself until I go to Kalimantan. And there's really like whole, almost like city built out of ironwood. Villages sometimes that you take, like a tiny village could supply my needs for like a whole year. And you have like tens and tens of villages like that. We went a lot off-road with Julian, who is over there also in Kalimantan, looking for new source and so on. And in the end, the raw material is there, but sometimes too far to access now. But when time comes, those people, they will just bring the material. So the supply itself, we can find it. It just takes time to get the material. Will it stop? No, it will never. That's basically, I mean, in our lifetime, the supply will just keep on going. But the supply of the new wood, this will eventually stop because the tree is not naturally growing and the growth rate is too slow to be able to be harvested.
What happens to those villages? The villages are dying out, or the people are switching to modern houses, or
yeah, you have many different type of it's a long topic to how to make it short. Basically, you have some villages where all the young left, so the village is like out of people, everybody leaves, so we dismantle the whole village and back to forest. Like we had a whole village offered to us like a month ago, You have a lot of the new generation that gets the belongings from their parents, like boats, barges, and so on. They don't want to walk on a boat or on the Mahakam River all day long, so they just sell that. So that's what happened. That's where it's mostly come from. They build a lot of those wallet tower, to bring those birds. That's just like a waste of money, so they pour money in to make it, and then 10 years later, 15 years, they realize that it's bringing nothing, so they dismantle it. When they dismantle, we are here for them, and also a little bit for us, obviously. But and those villages, they are either completely destroyed, they switch to beton, or part of the village disappear, so that's where we get it from.
Thank you.
Just gonna, I guess, have time for one or two more comments. So, yep. Adrian, Jonathan, if you've got anything else, and then anything else from the audience, and then we'll probably wrap up after that and give these guys a chance to have a beer.
I just want to go back to Jen's presentation at the start about connecting people and solutions. So I think your supply could be unlocked by block solutions. So those villages or those cities that have your potential supply, you could send block solutions in there to swap out their ironwood for block solution buildings, right? Then you have access to their ironwood and to meet your supply, so it's kind of circular.
Shame he left, no?
No, they're still here.
Yeah? Are you here? Say, come to Ubud, we have a coffee also.
Because they can, replace housing quickly.
There's the option. Now, you need also to have a material over there. And why they use Ulin? They use Ulin for two reasons. Mostly because of termite and decay, and Ulin is anti-termite, anti-decay. Luckily, plastic is also anti-termite.
So is block solutions.
So, but they need a material which is not going to be carried away by flooding, because they live by the Mahakam River. So you need to, the ground is not that strong, It looks like almost like a rice field type of ground, and the wood, when it dries, the wood is just taken away. So if block solution is able to do a structure that would withstand a flood, then we have something to do there.
We are actually working on a project with a company, PT Berantas, in Kalimantan. So they want to build, they want to integrate the blocks to build their office. So that could be something that can be used as a showcase unit to the village people. That is something that we can use to replace the wood.
Definitely,
Right.
yeah, sure.
Oh, that's great. This is what it's all about. Thank you, Adrian, for making the connections. Hey, I think it's been an incredible session. Thanks everyone for leaning in and bearing with us for over, I think, 2 hours today. I want to thank Guillaume from Kaltimber again for the great presentation, to Jonathan and Adrian and Maitri, who had to leave us early. And thank you to you guys for really being part of this. And we hope to do this on a really regular basis. So Kaltimber's WhatsApp QR code's over there if you just want to get connected. I'm hoping I'm going to buy some material from you and get in the waiting line as well. And thank you guys for all of the insights and for everything. Adrian, do you have... Oh, yeah. Thank you. And in the spirit of continuing the action, I think Adrian might have a quick announcement for a follow-on activity tonight.
Yeah, that's right. So at 6:30 upstairs, I'm hosting a brainstorming session for something called the Sustainable Development Challenge. So instead of complaining about the development tourism industry happening in Bali, the idea is to choose a baseline business or project, try to measure its current environmental and social impact, its profitability, and then propose alternative projects or solutions. So it's a very new idea. We're going to have a brainstorming session upstairs at 6:30. Some of you have come here specifically to attend that, so that's a reminder that I'll be heading upstairs at 6:30. But anyone new who's just finding out about it now, and you think that you could be involved either in terms of helping to organize it, or you actually have a project you'd like to put up for consideration, please come along. It's an open invite upstairs at 6:30. So if you see me by the staircase at 6:30, that's where I'm heading up. All right. So thank you again for your time.
Great. Thanks, guys. Thank you.